Hey, Allison Verhalen here with AV Writing Services, and today I'll talk to you about data versus insight. So, data is something we talk a lot about in marketing, right? And in a lot of other aspects of business as well. You need data in order to inform your business decisions going forward, but that's really only part of the story. Raw data doesn't actually tell you a whole lot about your target audience, about their hopes, their dreams, their fears, all those emotions you can tap into to get results in your marketing. So that's where insights come in. So you've got the raw data, bunch of numbers, right? But people aren't just a bunch of numbers. People are people with, again, those emotions that we need to tap into in order to motivate them to take the next step in the buyer journey. So analyzing that data is the process of turning those numbers into insights about our audience that we can actually use. As going, oh, well, most people are over here doing this. That means this about them. That means we can do this in our marketing strategy and it will be more effective. So that being said, there's it's one thing to say you need insights, not just data. And it's another thing to actually get those insights and turn those raw numbers into insights. So we are going to talk about what you need to turn raw data into valuable insights that are actually going to be useful in your business. So there are 4 elements: human, universal, true to brand, and targeted. Human is, again, does it reveal something about your audience on a human level? This is, again, I cannot say it enough times, you have to tap into their human emotions, that drive that we have to survive and thrive, right? How is your product or service going to help them to either survive and or thrive in this crazy world we're living in? That's a question you have to answer. And that all, again, comes down to the most basic human desire to survive and thrive. Universal, does it reveal something about a tiny subset of your audience, or is this something that can be applicable to anyone? Given how much I talk about knowing your target audience and how important that is, you might be confused that I'm talking about making sure your insights are universal, but hang with me here because just the first 2 are going to broaden your insights and make sure they apply to everyone. And then in step number 3, true to brand, we're going to narrow it down, right? So this is where you look at, is it human and universal and true to your brand? Because if it's human and universal, but not true to your brand, dump it. It's not applicable to you. You don't want to confuse people and make them think, oh, I thought the brand was like this, but now they're doing this over here. And that's a little weird. Now I don't really quite understand this brand anymore. Make sure it is true to brand. Don't leave them thinking that's something I thought another brand would do, not this brand over here, right? So make sure it is true to brand. Make sure before you do anything, hopefully you've already done this, but if you haven't, make sure you have a very well-defined brand so that every step of the way you can check back in with that brand and say, is this true to brand? Is this in alignment with the brand that I have been building and putting out into the world? So next up, finally, is it targeted? Is it in alignment with the goals that you have for this particular marketing strategy? I've said this a lot of times, but it bears repeating. Every marketing effort you make needs to have a goal. That goal is not necessarily going to be dollars. It could be, especially if you're marketing something like a new product or service you just launched, then absolutely that can turn into dollars. But most of the time, your marketing efforts, the goal is going to be to lead them to the next step in the buyer journey, not necessarily all the way to that last step. So it could be more social media followers. It could be more newsletter subscribers. It could be more books sold, right? Or it could just be more traffic to your website, right? So depending on what your goal is, make sure it is in alignment with that goal. So for example, if you get insights or data into the kinds of newsletters that your target audience tends to open, but you're trying to get more social media followers, that's not relevant to your current goal, so you dump it. You go back to the data and the insights that are actually relevant to the goal you are trying to achieve. So those are the 4 elements of a useful insight, something you can actually use to drive results for your brand. That sounds great. Now, how do we actually turn all that raw data into insights? First and foremost, set your goals. Again, we have to know what you want to achieve so that we know the data to collect and the insight to get. You can kind of work backwards from here, right? So you've got your goals. And then you need to know the insights, and then you need to know the data that will get those insights, that will get you those goals, right? So you kind of have to start with the end in mind and work backwards a little bit. So set your goals, then you have to go and collect your data, and then you have to analyze that data. So this is where we turn that data, those raw numbers, into insights. It is crucial. It's not enough just to have data. You need to know what it says about your target audience, again, as human beings, so you can use it to craft those marketing messages that resonate with them and drive results for them, and make sure those marketing messages are actually getting to them. Again, if you are on a social media platform where they are not hanging out, that's not going to be very beneficial for you. It's not going to get results for your business. So you need to know where they are hanging out. And then you need to implement it. So you've got all these juicy insights, you know all about your audience. Now you need to actually turn that into elements of your marketing strategy, create that killer marketing strategy that's going to get results for your business, put it out into the world, and then rinse and repeat, right? So you've got increasing brand awareness, driving traffic to your website. Your marketing efforts should also give you more data about what works and what doesn't work. So collect that data, analyze it, use it to create better marketing messages the next time around. If you don't get data from your marketing efforts, or if you want a new strategy with completely different goals, then start back at the beginning, right? Set those goals, figure out the insights that will get you to those goals, and then figure out the data that will get you those insights, and go back all the way to the beginning, right? This is a constant process. This is not something that you just do once and you're done. You are going to continuously do this. And that is it. That is everything I have to say about your insights versus your data, and the difference between them, and why insights are so much more valuable than data. So if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out. You can always find me at info@AV as in Victor, writingservices.com. Or you can find more information like this at avwritingservices.com. Otherwise, have a great week and happy blogging, everyone.